Now here you can see mullet usually attack in packs. See them swirling around over here? They're looking for my bait. Here you can see them attacking my bait, and they're just nibbling at the sides. They're not taking big chunks. See them nibbling? Look, that one just caught the hook. Whoop, and he's off. Now here I'm preparing my bait. I'm cutting a slice of bread in 4 different sections. Like this. I'm going to place 2 on top of each other, and then I'm going to wrap my hooks around the bait. You want to get the first hook into the crust so it holds on. Don't take the crust off, you need it there to hold it in. Wrap your hooks around and place as many hooks as possible on the edge of the bread. Keep on watching. Look at that, see? Most of the hooks are on the edge of the bread. That's where the mullet will be biting. And that's how your bread would look like. Now here I'm fishing for mullet on the bottom. You see I have a lead weight to hold my bait in place at the bottom. I'm on a fishing boat, so I'm just going to drop it over the side like this. You can cast this from shore. Now watch the action on this. Look at that, look at that, look at that. See that action? There we go, there we go. Whoop, we got this one. Let's see what we got here. Look at that, a lovely, beautiful fat mullet. I love it when I get the underwater footage. Now let's bring him up. Here he comes, here he comes. Look at that. I should be using a net, but it wasn't handy at the moment. There, look at that, a nice big fat mullet. Brilliant stuff. So what I've done here is, I've got my swivel and I've attached my weight to the swivel. And then I want my bread to sit as close to the bottom as possible. A lot of fish are bottom feeders. So we're just going to lob this over somewhere in the middle like that. Now my bread is going to slowly sink down to the bottom. Leave your line slack, just let it take the line. Now these are gold line bream. Look how close my bait is to the bottom. It's moving freely with the currents and the fish don't mind going for it. Wait for it, look at that, whoop, 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 and I've just hooked one. Now in this video I'm fishing for mullet using the same technique. Look at this video and just watch the mullet go for my bait. Now in this clip you can see the mullet are bottom feeding. They don't always bottom feed, it depends on the weather. Now here I'm preparing my bait with a string of hooks, just like I showed you before. The hooks are exposed, the fish can see them, but they're not really bothered because they can see the hooks. Look at that. Now my bread will be moving freely with the waves and the current, and the fish will go for it. See that there? Now I'm just going to lob it over the side. Just like that. Boop. I'm on my boat so I don't have to cast out far. 1, 2, and in she goes. Now in this clip you can see the fish are already going around it. They're not attacking it because the bait has not touched the bottom. They know it's there. They're just checking it out. Whoop, and there we go. Straight into fish. Straight into fish. Look at that, look at that. See that on the surface there? A nice big fat mullet that is. Lovely day. Yep, she's coming up, she's coming up. There, hoopla. If conditions are right, the fish will take your bait. You'll be surprised how many fish go for white bread. Either crusty dry bread like I'm using here, or else bread dough. White bread is also good to use in freshwater fishing. Yes, freshwater fish will always go for white bread. White is one of the colours that fish see a lot. They actually do see, and in murky waters, white shows up much more than any other colour. And I think that's why fish mainly go for the white shiny bread. Look at the size of that. Beautiful, lovely catch. But I put him back in now. Give him a chance to recover here. Look, slowly put him in the water. Whoop, and he's off. Bait. Now in this video clip, I'm using the same technique, but this time without a weight. If conditions are right, fish will take your bait on the surface. A lot of this has to do with air pressure and wind direction and all of this stuff. Look at them go. Look, I've just hooked a nice size bream there. You can find out all these things from your local weather channel. They will tell you if the weather is good for fishing or not. Air pressure affects fish a lot, and so does wind and currents and all of this stuff. Depends where you live and what the weather conditions are in your country. Look at that, a nice size bream. That really beautiful size, beautiful, lovely. I don't keep most of the fish I catch. I normally throw them back. Look at that one go. It's a frisky bugger he is. I'm going to use a cloth here because they have spiny fins at the back and they don't really hurt. I don't just like getting pricked my hands all the time. Look at that. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. Like I said before, a lot of fishing depends on how you present your bait and weather conditions. Look at that. Look at the size of that. Lovely. Lovely stuff. So I'm going to put her back in. Here she goes. Bloop, and she's off straight away. Now here I'm fishing for mullet using the same technique with the dried bread. I'm using no weight. I'm just surface fishing. Conditions are right and perfect and the fish are feeding on the surface. A simple way to know if the fish are biting on the surface is just throw a piece of dry bread on the surface and see if any big fish go for it. Now you just watch this. Look at this. This didn't take long at all. The wind's behind me, it's pushing my bait away, and boop, boop, we're into fish. That's it, look at that, look at that. That's a nice catch, that is. Look, he's coming in, she's pulling along, she's pulling hard. Look at that. Lovely. Lovely stuff. Like I said, a lot of fishing has to do with air pressure and wind direction and weather conditions. Now here I'm fishing for bait fish. I'm using a float, the dried bread like I normally use, and you don't have to cast it out far, just cast it close to the shore. Now this is the opposite of everything. Bait fish are small juvenile fish and they're a bit dumb, and it doesn't really matter what weather conditions are, they just go for the bait anyway. The wind is wrong, it's very windy, fish should not even be biting on the surface, but yet these little things are. They don't care, they're young and they're a bit dumb, as to put it. Now you just watch this. See them going for my bait here? There's hundreds of them. They don't care about the wind, they don't care about the waves. They're just going for it. Wait, and we get a strike soon. Look at them go. Whoop, there we go, we got one here. It's very windy. It was so windy that day that I couldn't even record, because all I was getting is the wind blowing in my microphone. So I'm doing a voiceover at home. The water's clear, it's too clear. Fish should not even be biting in this clear water, but yet these little things do. That's a young juvenile mullet. They stay close to shore. There's hundreds of them in packs. They're very frisky and they stay alive for a long time, and they make brilliant bait fish, they do. Bigger fish love this. Sea bass fantastic. Sea bass will go for this, and that's how easy it is to catch them. Well, I've hoped you enjoyed this, and if you've got any questions, just write down in the comments. Bye, and thanks for watching.